Hello everybody, welcome to the channel of the dad that has a boy with leukemia and he hasn't seen him in over 2 years. In this video I'm going to show you evidence that the dad who was using natural methods to heal his leukemia had his white blood cell count down by over 80%, a fact that Kaiser Permanente doctors and other medical doctors have stated is impossible. There's evidence in this video that states otherwise. We have evidence in here of misconduct on the part of court appointed attorneys that caused this issue. We have also evidence here of misdiagnosis of Christian's issues on the part of Kaiser Permanente doctors. Christian is currently now in a medical experiment at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and the father has recently gone back to the San Diego Superior Court just to try to get a phone call to Christian. It was denied, and that is the reason I made this channel. There's no other option. So I submit all this to the court of public opinion, and hopefully you watch this and see the evidence of the hose job that's happening against the father. And then you could share, like this video, subscribe. We're going to have things coming forward that you will all like. So I submit to this, you guys. It's a little long. If you watch it, you're going to be disgusted. You probably might have a tear in your eye. I don't know. It's pretty sick what's been going on to Christian, an 8-year-old boy with leukemia, what they've done to this boy. I couldn't imagine going through his experience, and hopefully you take the time to watch this and see evidence. This isn't opinions, this is evidence. When Christian was diagnosed with leukemia 4 years ago, I knew I didn't want chemo and radiation and antibiotics and steroids, etc. for his health ailment. And it wasn't because of the side effects and necessarily the low success rates and these programs offer. It was more about knowing that there's a better way and knowing the flaw in the medical system with regards to the lymphatic system and the key of the kidney's role in filtering this lymphatic system. Currently, the medical system theorizes or has the opinion that this giant system dumps back into the heart, back into the circulatory system. However, a naturopath that I studied under is showing everyone who commits to the program and is disciplined enough to eat the right diet to get these kidneys filtering again, and are showing this acidic waste lymphatic fluid come out the kidneys and out the urine, everyone's getting better. And yet the medical community has a huge error that's going to get exposed hopefully sooner than later, so everyone can get healthy out there. But Christian's dad knew about this error and knew the diet that needs to be conducted to bring the body into balance and all these health ailments go away, and chose to leave San Diego with Christian, get on a diet of fruits and herbs, and head away from the plant police and went to Orange County. In Orange County, we found out that search warrants were being issued and CPS was calling quite a bit, and stayed there with Christian for 3 weeks. And during them 3 weeks, the high of his white blood cells is seen in this private lab report that he had 228,000 white blood cells as high, and he had low platelets and red blood cells with that as well. Knowing that it takes time to open the kidneys and open the spleen, I was not concerned with the white blood cells. Christian could have used a blood transfusion to start this process, but you can't go into a hospital and just get a blood transfusion without them forcing everything on you. So we chose to leave the state and head over and try our luck in Las Vegas, where we had friends that could get us the fruit and the things that we needed. And so we continued on course with Christian with the fruit and herb diet to clean and strengthen the body, the lymphatic system, the kidneys, the spleen, and his other vital organs. This lab report was taken 21 days after the prior one, and as you see here, Christian was down to 70,000 white blood cells in his lab reports. This, according to medical doctors, is impossible because they theorize that only chemotherapy can get this number down, as they feel that they just go unchecked and the rate of white blood cells goes higher and higher, and eventually, most people kids die of kidney failure because the white blood cells attack the kidneys. However, in Christian, we use the approach of we want to open them kidneys so them white blood cells that are trapped can open up and be released throughout the kidneys, out the urine, and then the spleen was also opening up to filter the blood into the lymphatic system, and all the dirty white blood cells would be filtered in the lymphatic system and down through the kidneys. This happened as, in my teacher's experience, it usually takes, 3 to 6 weeks, something like this, and it was about week 4.5 that Christian, the number finally came down where his spleen and kidneys were filtering. So we went to the hospital with Christian, and he was immediately given a blood checkup, and he was down to 40,000 white blood cells, so he had filtered again another 30,000 from the high of 228,000. That's a decrease of 80% in white blood cell count. I highly doubt that a medical doctor has ever seen that without chemotherapy. And you just seen it right before your eyes that happened with Christian. So I told the doctor, I told him what I was doing, went in a room with him and told him, here's the protocol about the kidneys and how there's an error in the medical community that the lymphatic system doesn't drain it back into the circulatory system. It actually drains out the kidneys, and when you open these kidneys, which is another eliminative organ, this lymphatic system drains and the body comes back into an equilibrium. He was interested. He said, I see, you're doing something right here. However, I have a license, and I would lose my license if you continued with this. That showed me right there the power of a license, and that the state controls the doctors as well, and they're kind of handcuffed to what they can allow. And there was to be no more protocol that we were on that were showing 80% lowered rate of leukemic cells with no side effects. I mean, that's, in my book, that's a success, and to keep going on that path. Why go on a path that's never proven to cure anything? However, that was to be the course for Christian, and unfortunately, that path has not been a good one to date. But first, let's look at the error that the medical community is making with regards to the lymphatic system, so you can get a better understanding of how you can help yourself and be better prepared when you're in a doctor's office. So with Christian, his dad knew about the lymphatic system and the filtering. For you, the lymphatic system is defined as a network of tissues and organs that primarily consist of lymph vessels, lymph nodes, and lymph. Its primary function is to transport lymph, a clear, colorless fluid containing white blood cells that help rid the body of toxins. Now let's remember this word lymph, lymphatic fluid, lymph. I mean, you have 5 times as much of this fluid in your body than blood, and yet you probably never heard of this fluid. This fluid is where your cells, the easiest word to use is poop. I mean, your cells are fed blood. You have 80 to 100 trillion cells. They're all being constantly fed by the blood. And just like when you eat food, it has to be eliminated, and that's the elimination with the cells occurs into the lymphatic system. It houses all your cellular waste, and it's highly acidic. It's separate from the blood. It's a completely separate system. It does not, like this picture here says, lymphatic vessels, returns fluid to circulatory veins near the heart. This is an error. This is what will be shown to be a fatal error of the medical community. And how do I know this is an error? Because see that right there? That's a photo of urine. If you pee in a jar, that's your cellular waste. That's your poop. You ever see a pimple? That fluid that comes out your skin? That's lymphatic fluid. A cyst, a tumor, a boil. All these are acids, and they're housed in your lymphatic system. And they're, unless you know, Robert, and how to open up your kidneys, I pretty much guarantee you will not get this picture. However, once you get this picture, you know what health is, because you get healthier and healthier as you keep eliminating this. I mean, imagine if you didn't poop for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. I mean, that's what's happening with this lymphatic system. Everyone's kidneys are clogged, and they're not and they're not filtering this lymphatic system. And I knew this, and this is what I wanted to do with Christian, and this is what I did do. He started filtering his kidneys, and when he started filtering, his white blood cells came down. His spleen started filtering, his white blood cells came down. And this is exactly what I was doing, and this is exactly what thousands of people have done over the 40 years Robert's been doing this, and more people are catching on to this. As you see there's, this more jars of lymphatic waste, and it's that simple. Imagine cellular waste sitting on your cells when, a little baby, when it poops into a diaper. What happens, moms, when you leave that diaper on too long? That baby's bottom gets red and burns them. That acidic poop is sitting on top of them cells, and it starts burning. And this inhibits cellular function, so these cells aren't allowed to perform as they're meant to. But however, there is a way out of this, because if you eat the right diet, and we'll go through that in later videos, but if you go through the right diet and the right herbs to learn how to clean and strengthen this system, clean the lymphatic system, and your cells will strengthen themselves slowly but surely. It takes time. But this photo is to show you that the lymphatic system, the medical community still doesn't even know everything about the lymphatic system. And kids are forced to go to the medical community, and the medical community doesn't even know everything about the body, where it's mapping. I mean, we're still making discoveries on the physical structure of the body. How the hell are we forced into chemicals we don't even know where in the body they go, since we don't know the whole body? I mean, this right here came from National Institute of Health, 2015. They discovered the lymphatic system's now in the brain. We were telling them in 2013 it's in the brain. That's why you find white blood cells up there. They're trapped. They come through the CSF. That's a lymphatic highway to the kidneys. That spinal column. That's why they find in testicles in the brain. That's where they find these boys all the white blood cells, because they're trapped, because their kidneys are shut off and they can't filter out them kidneys. So this is just to show you science is waking up. And here's Harvard. This came from the Harvard medical magazine, and they made the lymphatic discovery a big deal. However, I show you this, that this is going to be the next error that's corrected. I don't know how soon it will be, but this is the error that's the major error, and it's very simple, but it's a huge error. This lymphatic vessels drain lymph and immune cells from around the body through lymph nodes, then back to the bloodstream. No, they don't go back. If all your cellular waste went in the bloodstream, then you're going to feed them cells, recycle cellular waste back into the cells. They're going to eat acidic waste. The blood is always alkaline. It's impossible for acidic waste to go in the blood and keep the blood alkaline. You'd be dead within a couple minutes. So it's just not true. It's untrue. And there's a lot of you out there filtering the kidneys, and I'd appreciate if you send in some photos of that to me. There's an email address at the end of this. I'm going to take it and put it in a case for Christian. I want that as evidence of all these people opening their kidneys and getting better, because the other side's not going to have evidence the other way, and that's
for any case with kids, just get some evidence of these kidneys filtering. And the medical community does not understand this. They never, have a way to oppose it. I mean, because they just don't know about it. So please send in your kidney filtration photos with a little story, if you would, a little more details at the end here. And here's the modern medical community does not fully understand the huge role that the lymphatic system plays in health. More on future videos. The system contains the body's cellular acidic waste, and it drains through the kidneys. The medical community has the opinion that this waste drains back into the vascular system. This is incorrect, as it drains through the kidneys. This huge error is costing man major suffering. Go pee in a jar and see if your kidneys are filtering. If they're not, you better find out how you get them to filter. Because you're probably not feeling well, or you're not feeling as well as you can be. I feel better than ever. People ask me, I feel like I'm 16 again. No, I feel better than I was 16. I've never felt so good. You learn how to open them kidneys up, and get all these glands in your body waking up again, and you'll really feel what health feels like, and you'll be thanking this man for bringing the information forward about the kidneys. His name's Robert. He's down in Florida. Great guy. He's go to his site here. It's all free. He'll teach you how to heal yourself and never need a dime from you. So I don't know if that's the same way the medical community thinks. I think Christian, you probably got about $10 million off leukemia treatment failing, but we had it working with just fruits and herbs, and 5 weeks out of the counts down 80%, that we got forced into chemo. But anyways, go over to Robert and enjoy that show. He's a great guy, and he'll show you how to heal anything. It's pretty simple. It's pretty laughable once you really get it. So, well, back to Las Vegas. We got caught, using plants to heal a kid. It was getting, had some results, and however, it doesn't matter. This country, you're going to pharmaceutical land. It's all set up where kids are getting what the pharmaceutical companies want. And so we ended up in a courtroom, Nevada, Clark County. And God we trust at the courthouse. I'd like to prove that anyone at the court trusts in God or even believes in God. Everything that I've seen so far is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's been very off. So here's what the Kaiser Permanente doctors were telling the County of San Diego CPS and reasons, their evidence to take custody from the father and give it to the state. So they're telling the leukemia cells are continuing to grow and divide unchecked. Well, we proved that wrong. I think, if you've seen prior slides, they were checked. They were checked by the tune of 80%. So that's a lie on the part of Kaiser Permanente doctors. He could die at any time, including tonight. Well, that is correct. Anyone can die at any time. That is true, including tonight. However, if you're referring to leukemia, he was still alive 6 weeks after that statement was made. So no, that was false then. He must present to a medical facility for initiation of medical care immediately. Well, that sounds like a threat almost. Who made this doctor Christian's guru or God or whatever? So that's a pretty bold statement. So leukemia cells in the bloodstream divide and grow rapidly. Well, that's true. Okay, that's a good one. This rapid growth causes sludging in the blood vessels that supply vital organs in the body, most notably the kidneys and the brain. Sludging. The word sludging, I really have, is that in a medical dictionary? That's kind of the word you use when you don't even know what the hell really happens. The rapid growth causes sludging in the blood vessels near the kidneys, huh? Well, that's because they're trying to get out the kidneys. You don't understand kidney filtration, Dr. Boatsman. And if you knew that, the sludging wouldn't occur around there, because then they would be open and the white blood cells could leave. So your sludging, you could get rid of that if you would have just listened to me. Sludging within the blood vessel causes decreased oxygenation of those organs and leads to kidney failure and stroke. Well, yeah, it could lead to kidney failure if, once again, kidneys, if you learn to open up your kidneys and let everything out, let that lymphatic system open. Medical doctors don't understand this, but Christian Army's coming, and we're going to be educating, the kids. We're here for the kids. So again, the kidneys, let's get them open. And here's the Christian will die without appropriate medical therapy. Well, where's your evidence of that? Where's any evidence of any of this? I love how medical doctors can just make statements with no evidence, and that's what we, fall prey for, and that's considered truth. I'm showing you right here. There's been all half-truths. Naturopathic remedies are not appropriate medical therapy for leukemia. Well, that's right. Naturopathic remedies is not medical therapy, and it wants nothing to do with medical therapy. So the medical community patent the word leukemia and cure. So naturopathy can't use any of them words. So no, naturopath, the proper naturopath, there's a lot of crappy naturopaths out there, but the proper naturopath that knows how to open the kidneys and drain the lymphatic system heals all this stuff. And you guys, I haven't seen you heal anyone, especially my son. Now you burned up his bone marrow. You need a bone marrow transplant because of your mytoxintrone, in my opinion. I mean, it causes, we'll get into that. Okay, according to Dr. Boatsman, this type of childhood leukemia has high survival rates with treatment. Okay, so here's their crown jewel. They claim that they have 90% survival rates. Well, once you get into wordplay, you can call it doublespeak, and it's called, it's using words to mislead in a way. It's deceivious language. High survival rates in this situation, it means 90% of the people will not get killed by the treatment. So great, 90% of you we won't kill. Well, to me that's not even good. I at least want 100%. I don't want to die because of what you do. But it's funny that word survival rate is used to force you into chemo, because they tell everyone, oh, we got a high survival rate. Well, what the hell does survival rate mean? They wouldn't put in writing what it meant. I had to dig a little deep to find out what that actually meant. No one put anything in writing. It's funny. There's nothing in writing in the case file. You just take over kids with just statements that are misleading and are half-truths. There's nothing freaking factual about it. So send me your kidney pictures, everybody. We're building the case. The medical community's missing something. And so here we are. We got removed. Christian got removed at on September 20, 2013 at 7 p.m. This was by a judge who was very big, and she liked big gulps in the courtroom, and she told the father about health. I don't think she knows much about health. She didn't look like it, but God bless her. Hopefully she figures out kidney filtration. And there you go. Current status of minor Christian Arnold, foster home, St. Rose Hospital. Well, that's Henderson, Nevada. Christian had the foster home. I don't know who his parents were. Maybe the janitor and the doctor. I don't know. Maybe that's their parents. I don't know how it actually works. But there's Christian. Got the chemo. It's a very low feeling when you see a port strapped on your kid and they're about to pour stuff that he doesn't even need. He was doing fine without it, and this shit, you don't even know what the hell it does. You don't even know where the lymphatic system was in the head. You don't even know where all the body parts are, and yet you're forcing this crap into my kid. Okay, I guess you did it. So you made some money. I hear that doctors get commissions the more chemo they sell. I don't know if that's true. I will admit I don't know if that's true, but I heard a Michigan doctor started just giving everyone chemo because he just wanted all the commission dollars. So that's, I guess, the kind of consciousness you have in the chemotherapy game. So This is, you know, a picture of someone that spilled chemo on him. You know, that's going into Christian now. So, you know, something good will happen out of this. And so, yeah, all the doctors, all the lawyers, everyone made money off Christian. Everyone made money. And there's my good buddy. Here's Christian. He did survive. He's part of the survival rate. 90% still good. He was remission free after they burned it all out of there. I'm forever grateful that he was in remission. So after that occurred, CPS came out on taxpayer money. They picked, you know, Mother and Christian and the CPS, they all flew back with Christian, where he would get put in another hospital, Kaiser Permanente, Anaheim. And so the dad, he was relegated to staying in Las Vegas a little longer and just driving home and going to the hospital and seeing Christian in Kaiser Anaheim. That was quite an experience. I'll have some videos coming up later about all the stories from there. That could take 5 hours right there. Here's Christian. He became another number. Got a barcode, his legal name, his legal person, date of birth, so we can charge that guy up. Gets the money moving. And so here you go. Here's the medications. This is just a small sampling of one visit. You look there in the bottom there, vincristine, well, the middle bottom area, vincristine. That was our first side effect with Christian. You know, Christian was a trooper through it all. You know, before this all started, I was happy that he did get a fruit and herb diet to really get everything strengthened up a little bit. They did make a few comments that he was taking everything like they've never seen before. You know, no different things. You know, they were really impressed. So, you know, I think getting them cleaned up beforehand did help a little bit. But this was the first start of the side effects. So he's in remission, but we're still giving him all this chemo, right? You know, so I don't really get that. But so vincristine, that was the first one. They basically, it shut down his pancreas. So I was hoping that the whole thing would get shut down as far as chemos, but they just took out vincristine, and then slowly but surely the digestion came back, and we went on from there. So next side effects we have here, this is Christian's retina. This, you know, that blob, well, we could call it sludging. If you see the blob, the sludging in the middle there, that's blood building up in Christian's retina. He had it in both retinas. He's having a very difficult time seeing out. I think it was the left eye and the right eye you could see a little bit. And so Kaiser Permanente doctor, you see his name now there, Meta, A. He said, you know, here's his little eye, or his chart of how he described it. It's leukemic retinopathy. It's caused by leukemic cells in the retina attacking, you know, the cells. That's the danger of white blood cells, right? Leukemic, they'll attack everything. And I was like, well, he's in remission, yet he has leukemia inside him. To me, that makes no sense. I think it's pretty common sense, right? You know, I don't think you need to spend $500,000 on medical school to realize that are you in remission yet you have leukemia inside you? So I called bullshit on that guy and said, you know, we need a second opinion because this doesn't feel right. This is, you know, not right. And so immediately, I mean, we need emergency radiation. I mean, this was like, I had the whole mother's side of the family at the hospital versus just me, and they all wanted radiation, and everyone's siding with them, CPS, everyone's at the hospital, like, you know, and then it's just me, and I'm saying, no, he doesn't need radiation. You guys caused this. And, you know, I was told, you know, if he dies, you're going to get murder charges if he doesn't give your, you know, radiation. And I'm just flabbergasted at this point. It's like, geez, you guys just don't give up. And so, yeah, we went back to court. You know, a guy we trust over at the court, I guess. We get, you know, now we need radiation. I don't know, God, they talk about radiation in the Bible. I think they talk about fruits and herbs in the Bible, though. So we went to court. They allowed to get a second opinion. Thank you. We got it. It took about a minute for the doctor to say, well, it's not chemo. He said it's not leukemia doing it, but he wouldn't say it wasn't chemo because, he just doesn't say what it is, but it's pretty obvious what it is. So we went to another opinion because Kaiser didn't like that opinion. And so it ended up, who knows? It's still to this day, no one knows what it was. It just wasn't leukemia. So radiation was put on. I don't know if Christian ever got radiation. He never did when I was there. I haven't seen him in a while, but to that point, he didn't need radiation. So the next little mishap over at Kaiser Permanente there, if you see on this slide the presence of at least 5 white blood cells, that's a relapse in this. If you find greater than 5 in the CSF fluid, you're in relapse and you got to start a whole new protocol. So if you look at this chart, on November of 2013, Christian had 6 white blood cells in the CSF. Well, that, according to industry protocol, is a relapse in November of 2013. Well, they didn't do a protocol for relapse until May of 2014, so they were 6 months later in doing a relapse protocol. So I don't know, that's a little off there, and another reason for investigation to be done. And so when they did the relapse, it's when they said Christian relapse, I think it was a year and a half into treatment, something like that. And so when the thing is, they're doing chemo the whole time. They went a year and a half, he did chemo, and you keep him in, he's better, but he has to do chemo all the time. That just doesn't seem right. I mean, it's just not a way to. There's a better way, is all I know, and I do know and didn't get to do, though. So, but the issue I had with the relapse, I mean, there was a new one chemo called out. It's called mitoxantrone. And when I read up on this one, I mean, this thing's a doozy. It basically destroys your heart because, they had to strap on the port to the other side of the heart because they put so much chemo on the one side. Now they put a permanent port outside the heart where it's just you could put more in, or this chemo. And so this mitoxantrone, and the thing that really concerned me is it actually causes leukemia. It causes a different type. It's CML. It's the bone marrow type where your bone marrow goes down, and that doesn't produce anything. So now, 2 years after mitoxantrone comes about, Christian just had a bone marrow transplant. I wonder if mitoxantrone has anything to do with it. Because now, if he has a CML leukemia, I'd love to see his lab reports, but the father's been shut out. He can't even get lab reports now. I wonder if that's not to get evidence. I don't know. Just saying. So anyways, I didn't want mitoxantrone. Well, CPS, the mother and Kaiser, it's all one team now, Kaiser, the mother, and CPS. So immediately called, went to family law court and juvenile court. There was 2 cases opened up for this. I mean, so we'll tell you about some legal misconduct now, because the court has also been shown to throw some interesting twists to the story out there as well. So I'd like to remind everybody first, before we start here, remind the Gould family, the Gould, the surname the Goulds, they share that surname. This is Christian. About a year and a half before the father gets pulled in for neglect. This is where the mother left Christian with the father when she went to Las Vegas for a weekend of having a good time, And Christian had a bad fever. He was in and out of the hospital all weekend. And the mother just left. Just didn't seem too concerned with this. However, 2 years later, the father was watching Christian one weekend after 2 years of chemotherapy, antibiotics, steroids, I mean, you name it. And Christian got a bad infection. And it happened pretty much, well, first half a day there was really nothing. He complained that he got poked in the finger. He got poked with a little Indian blow dart, a little kid's toy. And by the next morning, yeah, his hand was blown up and it was bad. He couldn't move it. The mother came to pick up Christian at the house. The door was open to go let him go to the hospital. The father totally knew there was an appointment to go take him that morning, and openly allowed to let Christian have a doctor look at it because he couldn't move his hand. You know, it wasn't the father's fault. And so, you know, because of this issue, I haven't seen Christian since. The mother came that morning and never brought him back. So, and the father couldn't have done anything for the infection. But yeah, the sound of it sounded horrible. He was in the hospital for over a month afterwards. You know, when they brought him, you know, from my house to the doctor, they had to drain it. They had to give him surgery, drain it all out. And I understand that sounds frickin' horrible, and I'm sorry he had to go through that. However, the father couldn't have done anything more for him. How was I supposed to get to the doctor? There's nothing more. When he got there an hour earlier, he could have really got him with all your antibiotics that don't work for fucking this shit. You know, so the father's been really given a hose job by the juvenile court. So another goal of the father is to really expose the juvenile court for what they do down there. I think the attorneys involved are probably the lowest of the ladder. I mean, if you don't know aren't smart, you get you're a juvenile attorney. No offense if there is a good one out there in the juvenile court, but what I hear, they're the lowest attorneys, and I also hear that, you know, you get more justice in a third world country than you will in the juvenile court, and I concur. You know, so we'll show you all, you know, court-appointed attorneys, what they do down there. So this is from Jennifer Arnold when she waived her rights at the juvenile court. And this is what they do to most parents. They just have you waive your rights. And I'd like to see down the bottom there the right to an attorney. So the mother requested a court-appointed attorney. So she has an attorney. That's key. Remember, the mother has an attorney. All right, to the next slide, we'll see who the attorney is. The attorney is Berta Atkinson. Her claim to fame is she's a court-appointed attorney, and she seems to be a little mischievous with her pen. Notice her handwriting there. Get a good whiff of it. And there you go. And there's the attorneys that were present for the juvenile case hearings. Berta Atkinson for the mother and James Blackburn for Christian Arnold. There were two attorneys present that day. Notice there's Chad Arnold ain't there. Where's he? Why wasn't he invited? So next we look at, this is where the attorney's name should be, and look at that handwriting. That's Berta Atkinson's handwriting, and Berta's writing there in pro per that the mother's self-represented. Why is Berta writing that the mother is self-representing on this court order that the mother's been using to keep Christian from the father? This is the same order the school would have, and they don't seem to want to show me this order. Because that's a lie, right? You guys saw it. The mother has an attorney. That should be Berta Atkinson's name, attorney for Jennifer Arnold. It doesn't say any of that. And here's the law that I want to show you, another little mischievous thing. After you get a ruling, it must be sent to the attorneys for each party. As you see on the service list, do you see any attorneys on that list? I don't see any attorneys. The judge there signed it, or the commissioner, beg my pardon, he should notice that. He should notice that. There's no attorneys. Christian's attorney didn't get anything. The mother's attorney didn't get anything, and they should, though they have to be on there and getting, service of the final order. That way then they can give it to their client. And that's a must. That rule says you must do that to be valid. It isn't done proper, so that's void order. We're working on it. Got to go to court in a couple months, figure this out. And here's another issue here. This says you need the court stamp on an order to make it valid. Here you see a court stamp. You see behind the filed clerk stamp, then there's also a court stamp. That's for the first go around with the juvenile court, which is how I know about that. And this, if you see the filed clerk stamp, but where's the court stamp behind there? You see that? It's not there. The order's not a valid order. And this order, that's why I've gone to the school and told them, let me see that order. You're not letting, me see the Christian. And they won't even get it out of the filing cabinet. I said, let me see it. Let me see it. You can't just keep my kid without showing me. And they won't show me. But, the same attorneys guiding the principal, I would assume, is the same attorneys that know about all this. So there's a lot of funny business. And here's the rest of the funny business. Look at the date that's filed. October 7th, 2015. And well, that hearing was over 2.5 months earlier. That should have been filed quick. But whoa, I was going to the court and asking them, where's the order? No one could find the case file. But guess what happened? Here's the CEO of Kaiser Permanente got sued and served on October 6th. Remember, October 7th was the day that order was filed. So obviously, I don't know. Obviously, this guy, because I kept asking, well, you don't have an order to be doing this mitoxantrone and everything? We wouldn't have sued him if there was an order in place. But the orders didn't get in place until right after the CEO was served. It's so just blatantly, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just pathetic. And then here's the orders again. When were they filed? Look at, he served October 6th. And these were filed October 6th and October 7th. These orders are from hearings are from 4 months earlier. Nothing was being done with them. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they just get filed. Well, filed doesn't mean they have a court stamp. It just means they have a clerk stamp. You need a court stamp as well. So we're going to be challenging them. And, I've been reading a lot of books lately about just different areas of law that it's just shark infested. And it's just, it's very sickening to wake up to the issues in our court system and how I don't even know what to say in a nice way. I still got to go to court. I'm just hoping to get a phone call to Christian at this point. So I'm going to keep squawking about it, though. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I've been put in a freaking corner that all I have is public opinion, court of public opinion. I'm just going to keep squawking until someone helps. And just, here's Christian. I'm sure everyone just wishes the mother would let me see him so he'd quit squawking. Jennifer, why can't you just let me see him? It's pathetic, but all right, we'll keep doing this. So I hadn't seen Christian in a while, and, I am a farmer. I'm a fruit and herb farmer. I've changed my life around, and that's the, business I've chosen going forward. And last couple of years, I've been heading out for the winters, and this winter, this past winter, I went to Costa Rica and I would stay around if I could see Christian, and however, I just felt like getting away. I'm not going to torture myself in San Diego anymore trying to see Christian. It's obvious the county doesn't want the father seeing Christian, or the mother, or the family. I don't think anyone's ever asked Christian that question, but I digress. So anyways, went to Costa Rica and having a great time down there. I don't know, by March, I get a phone call that Christian had relapsed again, and he was in a medical experiment at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. And I was, admittedly pretty upset that, no one even called to tell me that Christian's going to be in a medical experiment. I mean, does anyone understand the word experiment? I mean, is there any chance of cure with experiment? I mean, I remember in grade school, I did an experiment on a frog that I regret that, we operated on him, and it was an experiment, and we just threw him in the garbage, and it was done. Experiment is not a healthy sounding word. It's not a word I'd ever want associated with my son. So I, again, never consented to that experiment and would never have. And now it doesn't matter. I don't even know where Christian is at the moment. So I hear the experiment. They unleashed some cells in his body. He was in a coma for a week. They were glad that he came out of the coma. And then after that, he was at home a while. Then he had a bone marrow transplant. And I'd bet a lot of money that that's caused by that mitoxantrone. So I found out about the experiment, and within a couple days, I was on a plane back to California to try to get in to see the judge that's allowing all this to happen, who basically shut the father out. It's the most one-sided family law case. I'll put the results of the case on here. I mean, the mother got more money than the father has. The payments per month, it's more than the father even makes in a month. I mean, it's a one-sided, it's laughable. I'm going to put it all out here for everybody and just show people the treatment of the father down at the county of San Diego courthouse. It's pathetic, and if you don't like chemotherapy and you don't like what they're serving, you're gonna get crushed. And the father's been crushed, and all the father wants, I mean, look at this. I mean, just requesting medical records of Christians, father requesting mother to communicate the health status of Christian, father requests phone communication, visitation during hospital stays, and the last one, that's the kicker, denied. Father requests court order allowing father to attend funeral. If that's denied that too. I mean, that's just a low moment in my life, and I'm never gonna let I'll just leave that go. But that was the point I realized I really have to amp up the court of public opinion, because the courthouse, there's denied, Brad Weinreb, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but at this point I'm still going to try. I'm going to bring evidence in of there's my buddy Christian, hey buddy. But what I want to do going forward is to have people out there that support natural healing, or any nature. Just at this point, should the dad get a phone call? Does anyone support this out there? I mean, am I delusional at this point to think that Christian can call the dad? The Christian came on this planet, I guess he was given leukemia, and then he was given all this torturous therapy, and then on an emotional level, you just took his dad away. To help Christian and myself, please send in, those of you that are into natural health and have gained kidney filtration, please send in maybe a brief story, and if you have a photo of your kidney filtration. We want to build a case file evidence to make sure this never happens to another child again. If a parent wants to feed their child fruit to gain kidney filtration, it should be allowed in this country. We want to make sure that there's evidence around when this happens again. As we all know, there's many people catching on to this, and there's probably going to be more resistance to this. So I have a website in construction. I want to put all the testimonials up there if you allow, and I also want to bring these testimonials into the current case involving Christian to prove kidney filtration, and to have the other side to see their response, and maybe it'll be allowed to use to help Christian. If not, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to help other children. As we know, there's a real issue with the medical community regarding kidney filtration, and I'm here to prove that the children deserve better, and that we need to get these kids kidneys filtering, all these kids filtering, the judges' kids, all these lawyers' kids that did this, the doctors' kids. I'm here to help them all, if they even want help. But currently Christian, the Kaiser Permanente has the slogan of thrive. Well, what I seen over there, Christian definitely did not thrive in his experience. Currently, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Christian's alive. I did see someone that knows him about 10 days ago, and he said he was still alive. So I'm going to keep filing case or motions and have hearings involving Christian. And I would really appreciate if you could send in a little testimonial, or if you don't have kidney filtration, just something for the case file, the judge to, I'm accused of having an ideology that doesn't work. So I need people to send in that your kidneys are filtering and things are improving since that kidney filtration, because that's what I've experienced, and everyone I talk to about this, they experience the same thing. So now it's time to get it into a courtroom and make some changes for these children so they're not forced into these chemicals by a community that doesn't even have the lymphatic system completely mapped out yet. And there's a group of us that have it more than mapped out, and we also know that it filters out the kidneys and not the heart, as the allopathic monopoly has stated. So God bless everyone, and thanks for any help you can give to me and Christian. We really do appreciate it. Goodbye.